Alright, it's time for the heroic super guide to Omnotron from Blackrock Mountain. Omnotron's on the easier than average side for heroic boss, partly because his minion that he summons that gives plus 2 spell damage to everyone makes your AoE super effective for resetting his board and being able to get on top. You have a lot of answers, you know, his big threats like I think it's an 8/8 Magnetron or something, Magmatron. You can just pack a lot of good answers to that into your deck. You can get low on life quickly and sort of get rushed down, but, you know, with a solid deck to counter the minions he's actually producing, with a few attempts you should get there without too much fuss. With that said, let's dive into some real decks. In the case of Druid, back in the day, we pretty much just used good old mid-range Druid without too many additions. We make sure to have a big game hunter to answer his big threats, but, you know, especially with Druid, if you ramp up with your wild growth, you have Innovate to spike out something good like Shredder. You know, this is a pretty old deck, so we're running things like Keeper of the Grove, the Force Savage Raw combo. Of course, Force of Nature no longer has charge, so you'd probably take that out nowadays, but you're really looking to get off a good spell power swipe to wipe out his board and just ramp into playing a bunch of big minions like Rag, Boom, Ancient of Lore you'd probably take out now too because it doesn't draw as much, though the heal can be valuable because, like I said, you will get low on life. That said, we did not need to make, you know, real adjustments to a standard mid-range Druid deck from back in the time of the adventure to be able to take out Omnotron in heroic mode. The Hunter deck we used at the time, we did make some more variations. We ran misdirections are great because he will flood out a bunch of minions early so you can get them to attack into each other. Besides for utilizing the spell power the extra spell power he gives you, and making sure to have answers for his big Magmatron. The other key thing you want to do is when he plays his minion, which deals 1 damage to everything at the end of the turn, you want to very strategically set up the health of things so that it'll help take out his stuff as much as possible. As often we do in Hunter, we have things like the Scavenging, Hyena, Unleash the Hounds combo to be able to get a big threat out. And what you see less typically in Hunter is running Molten Giants, which you can Sun Fury up because you will get low on life quick. But we run a bit more AoE, things like Multi-Shot, because of that extra spell damage we get, and Explosive Trap will benefit from spell damage, so this will do a lot of damage to all his minions if it triggers, so we have Mad Scientist to cheat out our secrets as well. Hunter's Mark gives us another tool to deal with his big dude, especially if the game goes long. You might get unlucky and he can summon it like multiple times. And a High Mane and a Foe Reaper to help you once you do stabilize and can get out a big minion like that to really be able to take control of the board. With Mage, we went with a strategy that's probably overly complicated for what you need to do, but was fun, which is trying to just stall the game for a long time. So we have tools like Frost Nova, Cones of Cold, Blizzards to just keep freezing the board. Eventually we want to get out a bunch of giants like Molten Giants and Sea Giants. Echo of Medivh them, play them again for cheap. Essentially, if things go well, we can get out a board full of 8/8s, freeze him on the same turn ideally, but even if not, you know, probably won't be able to deal with it, and then just punch him in the face for a huge amount of damage. So we have things like Ice Block to allow us to get very low safely without the risk of dying. And then obviously we pack in a bunch of AoE flame strikes. Even things like Arcane Explosion become super powerful because of that extra spell damage. Doomsayer to be able to just put out on turn 2 to slow him down a lot, and Vaporizers and Polymorphs and Big Game Hunters. Plenty of answers for his giant Magmatron, other than the fact that you're also potentially freezing him a lot. But make sure not to freeze him when you're at 1 health, or yeah, on your own turn, Ice Block will not save you from him doing extra damage to you. And we also have some big guys like Foe Reaper and Kel'Thuzad, which can make your board extremely impenetrable. Shifting to modern times when we revisited these bosses, Paladin benefits, as always, from super powerful healing in the form of forbidden healings that can, you know, just instantly heal you 20 life. If you got low but eventually sort of ran him out of cards and have stabilized, bam, you're back to almost full health and can just take advantage of the board in a big way. Tyrion's so powerful, we run N'Zoth, which gives us incentive to run Fugan and Starlag. We have the Belchers, so you'll bring back Taunts. Keeper of Alderman, just great utility card to be able to buff things on your side as you need, or deal with a big threat of his like Magmatron, for which we also have big game hunters. We also have ways to just reset his full board, double Doomsayer, Explosive Sheeps for early on, Pyro Equality, Eldor Peacekeepers to neutralize his bigger threats, Spikeridge Steed to make big taunts, Yadric the Pure to neutralize his threats. There's no shortage of answers in the super powerful deck. Our Priest deck, is similarly situation where we plan on running a bunch of Death Rattles, which we can N'Zoth back between Shredders, Fugan, Starlag, etc. Having a bunch of AoE because of the spell damage buff like Excavated Evil, and Holy Nova and Dragonfire Potion will just wipe out any board of his. And then Mind Control is great. Once you get to the late game and have stabilized, as soon as he produces another Magmatron, you Mind Control it, and now he's going to be taking a ton of damage, trying to play cards to deal with that. Yeah, from there you can stabilize very nicely. Shadow Visions to find your necessary answers like the Shadow or Death if you're earlier on, and your big game hunters deal with that as well. And you can always heal up nicely. We don't include extra healing. Your hero power tends to be enough. For Rogue, you can definitely get it done playing the Quest. The Caverns Below, running a bunch of you know, cheap minions to get out Flame Elementals between Fireflies and your Igneous Elementals. And then once you have got the quest out, you can get out Young Dragonhawks, Stone Tusk Boars, South Sea Deckhands, Pulling Apaches, Cold Blood them, and get in a huge amount of damage. Rogue doesn't have the best AoE, but Fan of Knives will benefit a lot from the spell power buff, and we even run a Blade Flurry to just give us one other way to AoE if we fall quite behind on board, to deal with his big Magmatron. We have the big game hunters, and we have a lot of 1-drops and 0-drops which we can combo with the Valspine Slayer. And we don't have any explicit minions that bounce things, but we do run double Shadow Step to help get us out extra. Igneous Elementals are sort of ideal, but otherwise just Flame Elementals if it'll get us to achieving our quest, and then you can do a ton of damage to him pretty quickly. For Shaman, I chose to go with a pretty defensive route. We have double Healing Wave to be able to heal a ton, and the other defensive thing we have is playing one Elemental Firefly, but it does you can play it and get another one to give you one more turn if you end up sort of backing out that you don't want to play Kalimos. But yeah, it's just to set up Kalimos because he can heal you for a ton, or just do AoE to your opponent if you really need it. In terms of answers for his big guys, we have Hexes. We also play the double Big Game Hunter. And then we have Doomsayers to provide some early clears like Explosive Sheep. And Maelstrom Portal and Lightning Storms provide our AoE to be able to do a ton of damage because of that spell power. We have some of the Jade Elemental, sorry, not Elemental, but the Jade package between Jade Claws and Jade Lightnings and Aya Blackpaw and your Jade Chieftains, which give you some taunt to help you stay alive. Charged Hammer is great for being able to just deal a bunch of damage and then have a hero power that deals more damage. Ends up being very valuable. And a Bloodlust for when you finally do stabilize, just speed up his demise. Just one of them's enough in this matchup. Warlock was one of the decks I beat Omnotron with at the time in heroic mode, and we were pretty much running Handlock. You see you have your Mountain and Molten Giants, you have your Sun Fury to taunt them up, Ancient Watchers even combo well with Taunt or Shadow Flames, Heal Bots to help you heal because you do want to tap a lot to draw into your powerful cards. Siphon Soul is a good answer as well for his big guys. Twilight Drake's a good mid-range threat. Even an Argus for more taunt, which you'll struggle to get through all the ways you can taunt up. Sylvanas powerful. Jiraxxus can heal you and get out your good old stream of 2-mana 6/6s. Yeah, pretty much a standard hand luck deck from the time. Powerful enough to do the job of taking out Heroic Omnotron. Last on our list of classes was Warrior, and we run a fun deck, I think. It's pretty much just a lot of utility stuff. You can eventually N'Zoth back a bunch of your typical Death Rattles, Fugue and Starlag Belcher. You have some Ally Armorsmiths to gain you more life, Shredders, Shield, Block, Shield Slam combo, Doomsayers to buy you the board, Brawls to be able to just clear out his board, Faceless Manipulators to stick on, this is a nice one, which could definitely be in other decks too, stick on his Magmatron before big game huntering it, or you know, dealing some damage to it with another minion you have on board and executing it. Revenge as an emergency board clear, again, because of the spell damage. Even when this is dealing 1 damage, it can do a bunch of damage, but you know, if you're under 12, this is pretty much a guaranteed board wipe. And Unleash the Trailblazer, a fun one to be able to, if you do go pretty late game, give you a bunch more gas. If you're very comfortable on life, the Gorehowl gives you a huge amount of value as well, which will let you be able to establish board control with your other minions as you add them to the board. When it came to beating Omnotron in heroic mode with basic and common cards only, we did this at the time with a Mage deck that is basically just like trying to get good value for cards. Nothing too fancy here. We have early Mana Worms. Again, because of his extra spell power, Arcane Explosions become super powerful, and we do run 2 Flame Strikes for additional AoE on that front. Flame Cannons and Frost Bolts pair with your usual Mana Worms and Sorcerer's Apprentices for good early game. When you run out of cards, you have Arcane Intellect to refresh. Fireballs and Shredders, good as always. Polymorph, important for his big Magmatrons. Water Elemental, just a great bulky body to get out for your mid-range. Heal bots to heal you up if you did take early damage, and then you just have nice bulky minions as your finishers. Bolga Festoga, remember this card, used to see play early on in Hearthstone, especially when pre-Big Game Hunter nerf. Some people started playing this instead of things like Dr. Boom, just because you can't instantly clear it with that much value. And Force Tank Max, a really good value late game finisher in common only decks. Because of that Divine Shield, you can often get huge value if you're using that Divine Shield to help, you know, basically kill like a Magmatron or something together with your ping. So this is our common only deck that did it at the time. And with that, that is how you can defeat Heroic Omnotron. Like I said, on the, you know, one of the easier heroic bosses, I would say, but definitely fun with his quirky little mechs that he brings out. This is how you can defeat him with every single class and a deck of basic and common cards only. Good luck out there. See you next time.